Hello, welcome to Mike's Mets Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Pashota. Happy Saturday to you. I don't normally record on Saturdays, but something is happening in New York, specifically with the New York Mets. And this is one of the most improbable series of wins I've seen from a Mets team. They have a level of momentum right now that defies anything. I was talking to my brother last night, and I called them the zombie Mets because these Mets just won't die. They have unreal return ability now. This is incredible. They will not die. They just keep coming back over and over again. They have this innate sense all of a sudden of how to just orchestrate a comeback. It's incredible. They were so flat, and now they have risen up. They are the opposite of flat. They're bumpy as hell. Let's just say that. They have all of a sudden risen up. They are driving in runs. They are coming up with clutch base hits, walks, and of course, the home run ball, which has been so critical for them in this stretch of wins, where they just keep coming up with clutch home runs. And a big part of it's Pete Alonso. You pretty much, I'm going to say like 85% of it's Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso just keeps coming up with these incredible clutch home runs. Does it last night in a breathtaking fashion, hits a grand slam, and I mean, really, like, how do you even expect that? At that point in the game, the Mets were down 7-3. He comes up, bases loaded, no one out, hits a grand slam. Everybody goes effing bananas in that stadium, at home, wherever you were. If you were a Met fan watching this game, you went absolutely ballistic. You were like, "Oh my God, how are they still coming back in this game?" And it was incredible. They were down by an enormous amount. I want to get into Carlos Carrasco in a second, but this was an amazing comeback by the Mets, and they've had some amazing ones recently. You gotta look at the game against the Rays, and arguably that was one of the greatest comebacks in Mets history. This has to come in pretty darn close to it. This is one of just a shocking turn of events in Flushing, Queens, and you got to feel as a Met fan all of a sudden feeling confident after what was basically a month of just okay, they cannot seem to win consecutive games anymore. What's going on? All of a sudden now they're riding really high. They have, as I said before, enormous momentum. One that's going to be possibly snuffed out by the rainouts today. They just announced that the game was going to be postponed and will be played as part of a doubleheader tomorrow to finish up the series with the Cleveland Guardians. So we have that to look forward to tomorrow. So we can hopefully see the Mets come back and throw what's going to be expected to be a pretty important doubleheader with Scherzer starting the game one, and then the following game and then the second part of the doubleheader of Verlander. So this is kind of what Mets fans have always wanted to see is Scherzer Verlander going 1-2 in a doubleheader. I mean, that's incredible, but unfortunately, neither pitcher has been pitching particularly good. So let's hope that the recent turnaround from some of the other Met pitchers will forecast a potential turnaround for them as well. Someone who is not turning around is Carlos Cookie Carrasco. Carrasco has got to go. He's got to go, to quote James Franco. This is one of the more pressing things that they have to make a decision about, and soon, because Carrasco has just been terrible, and like David Peterson's been terrible also. Carrasco is probably even more so one of the people that they got rid of. I mean, they can send down David Peterson. Carrasco just they have to get rid of him. I mean, it is brutal to watch. And part of what's been so interesting with the recent turnaround has been that the Mets, Showalter's been giving more opportunities to the quote unquote baby Mets, which is Francisco Alvarez, Brett Brady, and Mark Vientos, and letting this trio just cook and let this group kind of generate some excitement and momentum because they are young, they are fresh, they want to prove themselves, and they have what is right now basically no sort of like comprehension of like how bad the Mets were really playing a month ago. Even though Beatty and Alvarez has been up longer than Vientos. Vientos came in basically just kind of on the first night of the Mets turnaround, came in and hit his big shot, and since then he's been coming up again consistently clutch. Not the same way that others have, but he's been an incredibly important piece also. But back to Carrasco. Carrasco is a veteran pitcher, certainly respected and well liked among his teammates. I think a good guy, and was a big part of the Mets team last season. He is one of a concerning trend of veteran pitchers who just are not adapting as quickly as others, and his problem has basically been just that he consistently gives up base hits, and he is a little bit of there's a little bit of bad luck on his part, but Carrasco has by and large just not really met the standard for what is a consummate starting pitcher, one who should not be pitching on the Mets. And unfortunately, they just don't have a lot of better options at the moment because they're still waiting for Jose Quintana to return back from his IL run. And until Quintana is back, I don't know if they can really make a decision about Carrasco unless they go out and acquire another starting pitcher. Now, that's possibly a move that they can make down the road. They could certainly bring up Joey Lucchesi and see if he has any better luck than Carrasco. But at the moment, Carrasco is just a troubling pitcher for the Mets. He has basically shown that he cannot really stand up to any type of offensive attack against him. He just immediately crumbles, and he crumbled in the first inning, immediately allowing a 3-run home run. The Mets were down early, and part of what was nice about the last couple of starts from the Mets was that the starting pitcher had done their job. They had gone 6 innings and pitched well. Both Senga and McGill had done a admirable job on the mound prior to Carrasco. Carrasco just immediately, does what's at the bed. I mean, cannot seem to find himself, and putting the team in a hole that early, one that he just continued to kind of dig himself into more and more. By the 5th inning, the Mets were down 5-0. Guardians were riding pretty high at that point, and then all of a sudden momentum changes. In the bottom of the 5th, Alvarez would homer to left field. Another home run for Alvarez. That's his second in 2 games now. So back-to-back games. His last game coming in the 10-inning classic against the Rays as well. So he's homered twice, both times. Big home runs. Alvarez's home run was not like a game winner or a game tire in this case, but it was one that kind of shifted momentum at that point because right after that, Francisco Lindor would double, and then it was Jeff McNeil who came up with a crazy base hit. If you've seen the base hit, he basically just kind of extends his bat out, and it was like something out of like the dead ball era of the way he hits that ball. He just kind of puts his arms out like a full 90-degree angle and just kind of like swats it, and gave it enough juice into the outfield. So basically, it was a seeing eye signal really up the middle, and Lindor would score, and all of a sudden it's 5-2. Mets are back in it. Brett Beatty would follow that up in the next inning with his own home run. So again, baby Mets coming through big here. He homered opposite fields, bottom 6. Now it's 5-3. Coming back, and then Josh Naylor, who was really effective for the Guardians in this game, consistently tortured the Mets. Besides hitting the 3-run home run in the first inning, he comes through with a 2-run single here at the top of the 7th, and we're back to 7-3. Mets are down 4, and they got to dig their way out of it. Who comes up to the bat but Pete Alonso in the 7th inning? But sorry, the bottom of the seventh, Alonso homers, not just a home run, a grand slam, and we got a tie ball game. I know everybody was thinking the same thing, which was how in the F did they come back again? How did they do it? And again, it's Alonso, who is right now the hottest man in baseball. People will go to Aaron Judge and say, well, the guy's homered 7 times, 7 games. Wow, that's really impressive. He's not coming through like Pete Alonso's coming through. Pete Alonso hitting clutch home runs over and over and over again. Like, how do you follow that up with? How do you follow up a game where you hit a walk-off 2-run home run, uh, and then follow it up with a home run, and then you come in and you hit a grand slam the next game? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he is on a unreal stretch right now, and everybody paying attention to Pete because in his last 5 games, he's hit 4 home runs. He's also driven in 7, 8, 9, 10 RBIs over his last 4 games because he just keeps coming up with men on base and he consistently keeps driving them in. Absolutely remarkable performance from Pete Alonso, and one that really shifted momentum. I know everybody was probably tuning into the game at that point. If they had turned it off, everyone was like, click, 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 get back on that game, and watching it. And I'll admit, I stepped out of the room. I did not see the home run live. I stepped out of the room, came back like a few minutes later. I was like, "Oh, they scored! Oh, they came back! Oh, they hit a grand slam! This is crazy!" It was an amazing moment, and if you witnessed it live, great for you because I can't imagine what that would have been like. Now, Pete Alonso extends his lead in the home run race. He now has 17 home runs. He also extends his lead in the RBI race, 41 RBIs. Just on an unreal tear right now. And everybody should be looking at Pete Alonso like, okay, this guy is legit. This guy is one of the great mashers in this game and can really go. Now, if you turn on the game afterwards, nothing really happened for the Mets for the next couple of innings. Although they played some excellent defense in the ninth inning, where Jeff McNeil made a absolutely incredible play at second base that he made look very routine, but it was not routine at all. That was looked like a easy base hit at the top of the ninth. McNeil would range to his right, full sprints, and backhand it, and then while on the run, make the throw. And as Gary Cohen pointed out, Pete Alonso had not even gotten to first base by the time McNeil would throw him. McNeil just trusted that Alonso was going to be there. He makes a strike right to first base. And this is not like a gold glove play, but Jeff McNeil makes that play a lot. And it just kind of shows how defensively capable he is. He's primarily known as an offensive first player, but guys a batting title to his record. But he is a pretty sharp second baseman, a guy who has good range of that and good speed, good hands, and a good arm. And he does everything really well at that position, particularly when paired with Lindor. The two of them are quite the combination up the middle. He's not Luis Guillorme, but he has not the same flash as Guillorme or the same glove. But he is a really strong player at second base. And he probably won't ever win a gold glove, but I just want to mention that. And then there's a ground out at the third base, and then Pete Alonso makes a incredible extending dive to end the inning. Ground ball to his right. He has to leave his feet, reach, and make the stop. Throws it out to Robertson. Inning over. It was one of the most impressive defensive series I've seen from the Mets all season long. They looked really sharp. And Alonso and McNeil, two guys you wouldn't expect to be like great defensive players, they both came through, and I really enjoyed seeing that because good infield defense always makes me very nostalgic for the '90s teams, particularly the days of Olerud, Alfonso, Ordonez, and seeing the Mets play great infield defense always gets a grin on my face. Comes into the 10th inning, Drew Smith on the mound, and Smith has been good all year, but Smith was due a rough appearance, and unfortunately it comes in this one. So he would allow a 2-run home run to Gabriel Arias, and now Cleveland once again back on top, now leading 9-7. And Cleveland has, if you might recall, one of baseball's best closers, Emmanuel Clase. And Clase has not really had a lot of success this season. He's blown more in a few save opportunities, and nonetheless was still leading the league in saves with 15 coming into this game. And Guardians must have still felt really confident. They have a 2-run lead. They have a absolutely dominant closer, and despite his troubles this year, and he has had plenty of troubles this year, they must have felt pretty confident with Clase coming in at that point. We have Brett Beatty starting the game at second base, out recorded by Starling Marte. Marte had another terrible game, and again, he's kind of having some bad luck. I mean, he gave the ball a good crack in this inning with a swing, and he just missed it, and because it could have been out there if he had just maybe hit a little bit more square. Ultimately, though, it's a fly out, so we got one out. Mark Vientos at the plate. We haven't talked about Vientos in this game yet because Vientos hadn't done much. He comes through here though, singles to the infield. Oh, sorry, and Beatty had advanced to third on the fly out from Marte. So Vientos single scores Beatty. Mets are now 1 run behind. The remove Vientos, pinch run him Eduardo Escobar instead. And a critical moment here, they have Escobar run with Francisco Alvarez at the plate, and Escobar, with Daniel Vogelbach at the plate, and Escobar really makes a not so great, not the best move. He probably would have been out, but it was a short throw from the Cleveland catcher, and ultimately the ball would fly into the outfield. So Escobar was safe at second. Vogelbach strikes out. He brings up Francisco Alvarez, third member of the Baby Mets. Alvarez had hit the home run earlier in the game. He's got a man second, and he comes through here with a RBI single. Just sneaks it through the infield to the left-hand side of the screen, of the field, and just gets it through. Escobar would score, and another critical moment. Stephen Kwan, the Cleveland Guardians left fielder, would chuck the ball in a really ill-fated and poor decision by Kwan. He just rears back and throws it as hard as he can, and he almost throws it into the stands. That's how much he overthrows the catcher. Doesn't hit the cutoff man, and critically, Francisco Alvarez would advance to second base on the overthrow. So all of a sudden, Alvarez advances on what would have been just like a single, and now he's on second base. Mets have tied this game up 9-9. Bring up Francisco Lindor, but first they're gonna before Lindor actually, sorry, Brandon Nimmo would advance, and Nimmo would hit a single, basically an infield single to the left hand side of the field. Ahmed Rosario, the former Mets shortstop, fields it. Makes a really poor throw. And this is one of those things where I because the Mets and Lindor have now been together for 3 years, I kind of forgot about Rosario, and most notably the fact that he was not that great a shortstop. He really had his fair share of problems at short. Most notably, not the best arm and really poor range at short. He's not really a shortstop, I would say. He's average at best. And the thing is that Lindor makes him look like a much worse player. Lindor probably makes this play faster than Rosario and maybe gets the out first, but Rosario can't make the throw. It's late and offline, so he almost throws it away. And the decision was also not great, also because you have Francisco Alvarez at third base, and Alvarez could have turned the corner. He could have maybe gone off third base. He's a young kid. Maybe he makes a bad decision at that point. Rosario is the veteran in this case, and Rosario should have been holding onto that ball. Big thing because you have Alvarez at third base now. And up comes Frankie Lindor. And Lindor, pretty quiet this entire game. Had a couple of hits, but hadn't done anything major. First pitch from Clase to Lindor, and Clase gives him a cutter, I believe it was, inside, and Lindor turns on it, rips it just past the second baseman into center field. Mets win it. I mean, get out of here. I mean, what is this? I mean, how are they doing this right now? Uh, it's an ecstatic scene. Mets are absolutely losing it. They're treating it like Game 7 of the World Series. I mean, they are absolutely. I mean, this was a game that they were sure to lose, and probably a week ago, you would have said, "This is a game that they're going to lose." They're not. They have no. They were so flat at that point. I mean, a week ago, earlier this same week, remember they got blown out by the Nationals on Sunday. On Tuesday, they got absolutely routed by the Rays. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, 3 straight games, they have rolled. They have all of a sudden turned it on its ear. Take of it what you will, but all of a sudden, Mark Vientos getting in there. The lineup looking a little bit more solid, looking a little bit more strong. Brett Beatty and Alvarez are homering. You're feeling like these three kids are starting to sort of liven up this team. And notably, you have fewer at bats for the veterans, guys like Vogelback, guys like Escobar, guys like, not right now, Marte, guys like Canna also. And it's a decision as to when Showalter is going to try and use them, because we know Showalter likes to use his combinations. He likes to use his veterans. He doesn't like people not playing when he feels that they could benefit from extra playing time. In this sense, he often favors the veterans because he feels like the veterans have played well and in the past, and he doesn't really know the younger guys as well. And unless he gets kind of a push from management, he's probably going to continue to play Canha and Escobar and Vogelback and Marte. And these guys, unless they turn a corner at some point and start hitting like the players that we know they can be, you're going to have to continue to cede at bats to Vientos and Beatty and Alvarez. Alvarez, most importantly, because Alvarez right now looking really good at the plate. The home run that he hit in the fifth inning to start the scoring off for the Mets, this guy's got legit power. I'm actually always kind of astonished by his level of power because he's not a big guy, but he's so muscular when he gets around on one, and he really got around on one in this game. He just pops it, and it's just a no doubter. I said this last time that Pete Alonso, he's got the no doubt power. Alvarez is really in his like level of I can swing it and hit it just as far as you can. Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. Now Vientos has legit power as well, and he's a big kid, really powerful. Brett Beatty, not as much. I think Brett Beatty will settle into becoming probably like a 20, 25 home run hitter. Vientos, depending on what Vientos does, it's still not clear what Vientos is going to be. Most likely a full-time DH. Vientos, if he gets consistent playing time, we've seen how he can hit in AAA. If he can play to any sort of level as he's been playing in AAA, then that's a guy with legit 30 home run power as well. Now, how much he's actually going to hit is, it does depend on his playing time. And then we have Alvarez, and Alvarez, it's conceivable that this guy is going to probably lead the league in home runs as a catcher at some point in his career. He's 21 years old, but I look at him, I'm like, this guy's like legit. Like, he's like really, really good, and he has turned a corner like so many of the other Met hitters have right now. Alonso is in God mode. It's pretty scary right now with Alonso. He seems to be able to just hit a home run at any point and driving guys, and keeps coming through in big clutch situations. It was an important one last night, and if he keeps doing it, he's going to be leading the league in home runs once again, leading the league in RBIs once again. I hope to see more of it from Alonso, and I hope to see more of it from these kids. The baby Mets, I saw someone put it on Twitter, slap that on a T-shirt, put it on their T-shirt right now. I'll buy it. Baby Mets, hell yeah, all the way. They are really feeling good about those kids. And then remember, they still have Ronnie Mauricio down in AAA. Now, I have no idea how Mauricio might factor into this. Mauricio seems to be, if anything, trade bait. But Ronnie Mauricio having a great season in AAA, and I would hope at some point that he gets to showcase his skills because he has not been called up as of yet. Everybody of that trio of Alvarez, Beatty, and Vientos has seen time at the major league level, except for Mauricio. Mauricio is the last domino to fall, and I would like to see Mauricio. If they are intending to trade him at some point, I would like to see him in a Mets uniform at least once. It would be nice to see because that guy's got legit power. Also, I mean, like they have really a loaded farm system that has seemingly blossomed at the perfect time because these kids have come in and completely changed the game. They have turned it around for the Mets. All of a sudden, we're so dead in the water, are brimming with life, and if they can take one of those games at least tomorrow, they're going to feel like $1,000,000 coming into that series against the against the Chicago Cubs. So important to see, and important to watch, and I can't wait to see more from that group and from this team, and hope more good things are coming on the way. Thank you for listening to the Mike's Mets podcast. Please be sure to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Finally, please also follow the podcast Twitter, which is Mike's Mets Pod, all one word. Appreciate your time and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Let's go, Mets.